My first tutorial on how this is the foundation chain, the Slipknot and the foundation chain, which foundation chain is the very beginning of all your patterns, and foundation, hence foundation of a house, it's where you start and build up from. Slipknot is what you very first start with, okay? And I have a few questions. One is, why are you wanting to learn to crochet? I learned because I weighed 200 pounds more than I do now, but I had bariatric surgery. But before my surgery, I needed something to keep me occupied because I couldn't get up and move around very well and whatnot. And so I needed that very badly. So my mom taught me, and I first learned the chain. And when I got it pretty much the same throughout, a good chain, then she went on to showing me how to do single crochet. I did not know there were all the tutorials there are on YouTube, or I probably could have moved on faster. But anyway, so I learned in my 30s. If you already crochet, how old were you when you learned to crochet? So let's start this. Okay, here's the slip knot. You make your loop, your short end, this end is over here. Your end that's attached to the ball is there. Okay, it's like this. You take your yarn and you pull it through. Then you put your hook in and you tighten it. There's different ways to make your slip knot. That's how I make it. It's called a slip knot because, see, you can loosen it and tighten it. It doesn't stay like, it's not a knot like we're used to. So let's show that again. You make your loop, okay, like this. You take your yarn, this one that's running underneath, and you pull it through. Okay, like I said, it gets bigger and smaller. You put it on your, now you're going to tighten it around the shaft, not around this part and not around this part, because this is what determines the stitch size. This is what's different in all of them, and what size. In other words, the H size is this shaft right here, okay? Okay, so now we're going to do our foundation chain. We've got our slip knot, which is what we start very first with. Okay, so you are going to yarn over and pull through. And go up, grab this yarn, we call it yarning over, and you're going to pull through. Okay, grab that yarn, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, see how it's hooked, and you can hook it, pull it through your stitch. Okay, so let me take it apart. That's called frogging if you mess up your pattern. Now you want your chain to be even, because if not, it's going to be all kinds of wonky, and it's going to take you a little while to do that. Like, all beginner crocheters have like small stitches, bigger stitches, but you need to practice getting it kind of uniform, because that it'll make your scarf, whatever you're working on, kind of funky. And you're going to want to count your stitches, because if you miss stitches or add stitches, that also messes up it being however it's supposed to be. When I first started learning, I didn't count stitches, and I had this scarf that went from like, okay, like this to a triangle, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Well, what was going on was that I wasn't uniform in my, I wasn't counting stitches, so I was losing stitches, which is really easier than you would think to do. So let's start with our slip knot. Put it over, pull it through. Okay. Put it on our hook. So let's say our pattern calls for 11, chain 11 at the beginning of the pattern. Okay, because that determines what our everything adds up to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that would be an 11 chain foundation chain. That'd be 11 chains. And see, they're pretty much all the same size. And if you lay it down, it's going to lay flat. It's going to lay, if you do it a bunch of different sizes, it's going to be all kinds of curly cues up and it's going to make everything bumpy. So that's how it should look. Like I said, it takes a little practice to get them the norm, you know. But I just kept making a chain over and over. It's, for someone who doesn't have a lot of patience, it's annoying. And so you're going to have trouble starting out. But it's best to get this as smooth as you can before you go on to your stitches. Because once you start making something, you want these pretty even. And you're going to want to be good at counting your stitches and whatnot. And you need it in your head to count stitches, because I didn't. My mom told me I should and I didn't listen. So I'm just telling you, get in the habit of counting your stitches out loud to yourself, whatever. They have row counters you can get. I don't use one. And sometimes when I'm on a project and I'm not sure if I can remember what row I was on, because like if you're working in the round, it's hard to tell, then I'll like put it in my phone or something so I can remember when I go back to my project. But for now, that's your foundation chain, and then everything builds up from there. So my next tutorial will be the single crochet, which will build off of a foundation chain. So will try to do that this evening or tomorrow, hopefully. Sorry it took so long to get a tutorial out. We've been trying to figure out how to get it situated so that so you can see me. So let me show you the foundation chain one more time. And then you can rewind it as much as you want. So Slipknot, you do this. You got this one over here. I always put this one underneath. Then you pull this one that's attached to the ball through there. Then you put your hook in and you tighten it around the shaft. Then you yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's a foundation chain of 10. Now when you hold your hook, some people hold it like a pencil. I can't seem to crochet like that. I can't even show you. I can't do it right. You yarn over and you pull it through like this. And that's how my mom crocheted, and I don't know how she held her yarn. She always had her yarn looped around her finger. I can't do it like that. I hold mine with my finger, my thumb, like this, and I hold my yarn like this. My mom always thought the way I held my yarn was really weird, but that's how I'm comfortable. You're going to have to find what's comfortable for you. Okay, not everybody is comfortable with the same. And see how I talked about the chain being like even, look where I got a really big one in there. See, that won't be too bad if it's the only one. It'll blend in. But if yours looks like that, like a big one, a few small ones, a really small one, a real big one, it's not gonna look right, because it's gonna determine, because it's the foundation of what you're making. Okay, so hopefully I'll see you this evening or tomorrow with the single crochet stitch. That's all for now. Answer my questions and please give me recommendations. Tell me if this was easy to understand or what you think I can do for my next tutorial to do better. Okay, that's all.